Hello, everybody. This is the Grumble Gamers, episode 6, or 106 if you are in the, if you're a season of TV. My name is Crazed.
And I'm Witchley.
You've never heard that? Where it's like 106?
Actually, I have not heard that.
Yeah, like when you're doing a season of television, they go by, it's episode 106, meaning 1 being the season and then...
Oh, okay. Well,
I was always confused with that.
Yeah.
It always is. And I just made it even more confusing. So it's episode 6, 106.
Okay. I'm hanging on by a thread. Carry on.
We already said we're Crazed and Witchley?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now I'm just backtracking. Perfect.
Let's introduce our lovely guest.
We have an amazing guest that is with us today. Her name is Alyss. Hello, Alyss.
Hi.
It is so nice to have you. We wanted you on for our spooky season for our podcast and, for October coming up. And you do some horror games on your channel, right?
Yes, I do. I try to keep most with horror, but I also do a little bit of variety also.
It's nice. You do it with your son, right? You do some games with your son?
Yes. Well, I try to find the best games that I know won't be too violent for him or scary for him. Mm-hmm. But he's still, even though I don't do games with him, he always loves to say goodbye with me at the end of my other games.
Aww.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
It's so adorable. And I love watching all of your stuff with your son. It's amazing. It's so
thank
wholesome.
You.
It's very wholesome, and it's amazing just watching you guys have a great time together. And it feels the same way I do with my wife, where we just play games and have fun. And I'm glad that you have that charm.
It has a great bonding experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives us more of a bonding too, since I've been home. So it lets us play more games with each other too.
Yeah, it's really great. Well, so let's talk before we dive into our subject, which we are going to be talking about scary games. So that's kind of nice that we're kind of bleeding that in. But I wanted to talk about you a little bit. Tell us about yourself and, what got you into YouTube and what inspired you to keep, to start it to begin with.
Well, after this whole thing happens, the pandemic and stuff.
The Cabbage Patch disease. We call it the Cabbage Patch disease.
Yes, that. Well, I stopped working and then maybe I want to say a couple months in, I realized that you could record games off of your PlayStation and Xbox. And I didn't know that for the longest time. And I was like, maybe I should start doing YouTubing and just put my games out there. I did no audio first because I didn't have any mic. Mm-hmm. But I kind of just got into it that way. I used the cheapest editing program on the computer that's already installed in there. I did that for a little bit. And then I finally got a computer. I had someone build it for me too. So I was able to get a decent computer. Yeah. So, and then I got a mic finally. I have a camera, but I haven't used it yet though.
We get that. Yeah, we started using cameras with our streaming, but we haven't done it as much since then. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same way we did it, during the Cabbage Patch disease. We like to call it that because we couldn't call it, the actual word because they would demonetize you or whatever.
Even though we're not monetized.
Yeah, we're not monetized. Yeah. I was just trying to be funny, and I was like, well, let's call it something ridiculous. And so yeah, I didn't get laid off of work like you did, unfortunately. My hours got reduced where I only worked 3 days a week, and so I used
more than 20 hours.
Yeah, I only had about 20 hours, and which was nice. I was very fortunate not to lose my job like a lot of other people did in yourself. So I'm sorry that happened to you. And
well, I didn't get let go. I left myself.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was getting a little too much there, and I was getting paranoid.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, it was nowhere that I was working at the time, or at least at the very beginning, was doing it safely, and not a lot of people thought this was serious as it was until it was too late. So and with the time off I had, I was like, you know what, I want to learn something new. And I did a little bit of YouTube beforehand, and So I thought it'd be a great idea to, start learning how to edit, start recording, starting to figure out like, maybe this is something that I can do. And I still go back occasionally and just look at all my old stuff. And I just see like, wow, I mean, like my editing was just crap. Like I was like, this is not good, but I'm like, it's nice to see the evolution of me growing as a person. Gone. I know it's crazy. Just looking at it now, I'm like, wow, I can't believe how much. And it's just slow. It's a slow progression, but I love it that I've improved. And and I started going back on some of your stuff, and I was seeing a lot of improvement on yours. Like you said, you didn't have your mic yet, and now you have your mic. I mean, that was with me too, with us, where I was like, well, I don't have the proper equipment for this. What can we do that's different, And so over time, I had to save up money to, throw in
and I have a card capture now too, so not just from the PC or the PlayStation.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect. Like I have that too. We have all the systems that we can record stuff on. So it's just nice that over time we can be better and, with our recordings and editings and stuff, just like you can. So I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
And one of the first videos I started watching you on was Plague Tale, which I love. I would have not known about that game if it wasn't for you playing it. So I was like, wow. So it's on our radar now to play at some point.
Oh, you should. It's really good. The story, I love the story. And
it looked interesting.
I just wish I just wish I could do commentary with that. Maybe later on, I could probably go back to it and then add commentary, but
they're adding a sequel to the game. They're adding, so that's an opportunity to go back to it. Even just a revisiting, really, you can just talk about it in one episode. I think it's kind of nice. So it's just, that's how I found you, and I'm glad we kind of have the same kind of story where we kind of just started because of this whole, the whole Cabbage Patch disease. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, because I had to do something other than just lay on my bed all day, take care of I still take care of my son, of course. But I mean, just doing all those same stuff every day and just feeling depressed.
I get that. It feels a little tedious. I get that. Yeah. And for my wife, she got so popular with her business because of the whole Cabbage Patch disease. So I was just trying to find something for me to do where I was like,
good. Yeah.
Unexpected,
that's really
insane
good.
Amount of growth.
That's good though. That's really good.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? Like what? I'm glad you were kind of inspired, through just trying to find a new hobby. And what made you do horror games? Is it just because it's just one of your favorite things? Is it your favorite like genre when it comes to like movies, games, and whatnot?
I love horror games. So I was like, I could just stick because my collection is pretty much horrors, and then there's some action. Most of them are pretty much walking simulators, though. But I was like, I'm gonna do all my horror games that I got. Most of them. Some of them probably not because a little too long for me. After I beat them, it's like, okay, I'm done. I may go back to it, but I don't know if I want to record it though.
Yeah, I get that idea. Yeah. There's some really long games. Sometimes. It's a little stressful, especially when the longer games. I really appreciate the shorter games where we can just sit down maybe for about 10 hours and not 10 hours straight, but like, it's a 10-hour game. I don't need a 60-hour game to show off. I mean, it is a lot of editing and recording and whatnot, I bet. So it's just nice doing small games that are, especially older games now, because I remember how short those games are as opposed to now where we have like 60+ hour games, and it's just daunting sometimes.
Yeah.
So very stressful.
Yeah. Because I want to do Days Gone, but I'm still not sure when I'm going to do that because I already beat it. And I got, I platinum it too.
Nice.
So it's like, I know I want to do it, but it's not on the top of my list right now.
Yeah, I get that. I have those feelings too where I'm like, well, I ran through all of Death Stranding, but my wife's only seen increments of it. And then the new director's cut just came out. Not trying to sponsor Death Stranding, but that game just came out.
No, I love it.
It's such a good game. And I'm like, I want my wife to experience it though.
I would love to.
Yeah.
She's seen bits and pieces, so she knows a little bit of the story. And she's like, what is it? What does it all mean? I'm like, well, we got to play like 60-hour game to figure it out. But
I've been like waiting over a year now.
Yeah, but it's nice that the director's cut came out. But yeah, it's just like those things where I'm like, I want to go back, but it's like such a daunting thing to be like, well, I already sunk so much time into it. And like you said, it's just like, you've platinumed, Days Gone. You're like, do you want to go back into it? I mean, for me, it's like a reason to go back for me is because my wife's never experienced it. So fully. So I want her to experience it with me again, even though I'm the one that's already seen it all and just waiting for her reactions.
I don't mind playing that game again. I know I am.
I just got the director's cut because it's $10 upgrade. So it's pretty cheap just to do it. And you can do it on PlayStation 4 or 5, which is nice right now. So you can just play it on that. And it's a $10 upgrade. And it's nice. And I've just been kind of diving in again. I'm like, ooh. This is nice. But enough about Death Stranding.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I could talk about that. That might come later because we're going to be talking about our spooky top 5 games of all time. This is why we wanted you on, is because you love horror games and we love horror games. So I thought it'd be nice to talk about our top 5. So how about we go around the table and we'll start with number 5.
All right, who's starting and who's ending? So we know who's in the middle.
I think the guest star should go. Then it will be you, honey.
Okay.
And then it will be me. So, Alyss, you're first.
Okay. Well, on the last of my list, it was Dying Light. But I totally forgot about Visage. So I'm going to scratch Dying Light and put Visage as number 5.
Perfect. That's on my list too. That's on my number 2 actually. So if it's on our list, we can talk about it. That way we can just skip it when I come up. So I will probably chime in my Visage stuff. And I know my wife has a couple things to say about Visage too, probably, right?
Yeah, so let's hear Alyss first. I'm curious to hear what you love about this game so much.
I really, really liked that how it was kind of close to how PT is and how Silent Hill maybe would have been if they still went with it. But I don't know. I just love how you don't know what is around the corner or when the scares are going to happen. Because usually they're pretty much random. So it's like not everyone will see the same scare. But yeah, I've recently recorded Dolores chapter. And there was one part in it where you see her in the boys' room up in the corner. That freaked me out really bad. And I was really hoping that showed up again when I was recording it, and it didn't. So I was like, no. Yeah. But I did get some scares from her though. A lot of other new ones that I didn't see. So it was really nice revisiting the game again.
Oh heck yeah. Dolores is my favorite chapter in that whole game.
we played it, and that was our first chapter to go through Dolores, and it's such an interesting tale with her, especially dealing with like learning that she had like some kind of mental illness in that game, and that she was just slowly breaking. And it's so interesting. It almost, and like you said, like the house, like you're gonna have different experiences, than like your first time around. So it kind of feels like the house is alive, and it will just react at any moment for you. Like you said, around the corner, you don't know what's gonna happen. And like you just see a light flickering, and then Dolores could be there, or later on in the chapters, I think you have Lucy, and then I think I forget the last guy. His name starts with an R.
Rankin, I think it's Rankin.
Rankin, okay.
I could be. I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I could be pronouncing it wrong though.
I remember thinking it was such a strange sounding name.
Yeah,
it's very foreign.
And then
But that game is
I like
so
all
great.
The stories.
Yeah, the stories is great, and I do love that. I think at the end they kind of just address your story and why you're there.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of nice. We ran through that whole game last year in October, and we did platinum it. And then I think we're gonna do a revisiting just like you. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I platinum it too.
It was so fun, and like you said, it's like it's so much. It's like the inspiration from the PT demo from Kojima and. Like, it's kind of like seeing what the potential would have been there for a Silent Hills game if we got it, and I love that.
Yeah.
And I love the mechanics to the game. The one thing I could gripe about it was the inventory mechanics were a little bit of a learning curve because I was having difficulty on controller.
Me too. I mean, since I played it, I think 2 times now, and this is my 3rd. I still have trouble figuring out, okay, what button was it again? And this is, on controller too.
Yeah, it was a learning curve, but everything else was such a great experience with that game. And like, man, they were, I don't think I had gotten as much, like, as scared in any other game, except my number 1, which we will go to later. But yeah, like in a long time, I have not had that kind of thrill and scare like Visage was. And I mean, if we wouldn't have Visage if it wasn't for PT, I even think. So we have to talk about PT,
definitely.
Right? I mean, PT was such an experience in 2014 that everyone was playing it. I still wish I recorded that. Like, that's one game I wish I could have recorded, like, when it launched. But we played a Dreams remake of it on Dreams on the PS4, where someone did whole recreation of PT through Dreams, and it's so cool. And we played it on the channel, so that's as close as we're gonna get for our PT actual experience. It was still scary though, but it was, man, without PT we wouldn't have Visage. And I just gotta say, both those games are amazing. Do you have anything to say about PT though?
All I remember is that I played it once and got kind of stuck and had to cheat on the puzzles. Yeah, I did cheat a little bit. I was like, I'm stuck. I think it was the radio one where you had to figure out the code or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of like hidden stuff. I know, it's so, you can't even download it anymore. I just wish it would come back or it just still exist. It's just, I know people still have it on their consoles, and you can buy consoles that have them still on there for a ridiculous amount of money. Because people like to scalp that. But it's, I wish we had, I mean, Visage is going to be the closest thing we have to this game, I think, for a long time, until someone else can do, unless Kojima can do a new horror game. I wouldn't mind. I'd say yes to that.
I think there are plans for him to do a horror game.
There's rumors right now. I'm hoping they're true.
There are rumors. I know.
I just hope they're true. Anything else you want to chime in, honey, on Visage?
I think you guys did an amazing job covering this game.
All right, well then, if we have nothing else to say about Visage, then how about we move on to Witcherly's number 5?
All right, so because I heard both of your games, and I thought I'd bring a bit more like of a variety, because some of these games that are on like these lists that you guys made are probably in my top 5 as well. So I went like in my usual pattern. I had to do like a theme, and so I'm mostly sticking with like indie horror games that like really I absolutely love. So the most recent one, which is at my number 5 spot, is called House. It's an indie survival horror adventure game by Bark Bark Games, if anyone's curious. It's their first game, and it was released last year on October 30th, so the day before Halloween.
Nice.
In this game, you play as a little girl named Tabby, and she's apparently stuck in a time loop. There are many ways she can die in this house, which not only is sort of terrifying for a little girl to go through, but one of the most interesting ways you can die in this game, I think, is from the monster in the toilet, which brings back a childhood fear of mine for some reason.
You want to talk about your childhood fear?
No, I would say probably like for the first 8 years of my life or so, I felt like I had to do my business fast, or else something would try to pull me into the toilet, or one of the many sewer gators that had to be living down there would bite my butt. So, childhood fears right there. But anyway, it has a fun art style. The puzzles are intriguing, and I love how this little girl can persevere in this house of horrors. I moved around a lot as a kid, and I was always afraid of monsters that could be in those new houses. So I really love how this game like sort of incorporated all these things. It really grabbed me on an emotional level and won me over quickly. So I know you can play it on Steam for $5 if anybody's interested. It's a cute, fun game. Or if you're not interested in spending the money, I know there's videos on YouTube.
Yeah, we watched it on YouTube. We watched the whole series.
That's how I learned about it.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
It's such a... Have you heard of this game, Alyss?
Oh, well, I didn't remember the title, so I had looked it up right now. But yeah, I've seen gameplay on it. I've seen the whole thing too.
Who'd you watch it from out of curiosity?
Markiplier.
We did too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so good. Just like the whole looping and how many ways you can die. It was so good.
I was like, oh my goodness, don't go there, do that. Yeah.
It was nice seeing the whole game from Mark's perspective because I wanted to see everything in that game. So it was kind of nice. But yeah, I wish I want to play it at some point. I think that'd be really fun to do on our channel and maybe yours too.
Maybe. I haven't done any computer games yet. I'm still learning how to use, Streamlab and the Elgato. So
yeah, I need
to figure it out.
Same thing. Yeah, I'm still doing the same thing right now with ours. So we use Elgato, and yeah, I haven't done anything on PC. So everything's all console for us and luckily we have all three consoles, so it's kind of nice. So we have a variety.
That's good.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about on House, honey?
I'm good, honestly.
I'm good. You said everything that I love about it, honey. It was the time looping and all, like the million ways you can die in that game, and the story.
They are all so much fun.
Such an interesting mechanics. I love it.
I'm a morbid person.
All right, well, then I guess we'll head on to mine, unless anyone else has anything else to chime in.
No, you're good.
Perfect. All right, so my number 5 is Doki Doki Literature Club. Now, we haven't played any visual novels on our channel before, or I haven't touched it in many years, like visual novels. But
yeah.
So for going into DDLC, if you want to like shorten it or abbreviate it, we had no idea or the expectation that was set in front of us. You know, finding out that it's a psychological horror game was no secret when we started because the game came out like in 2017. So we jumped on when they did the Doki Doki Literature Club Plus version where they added more content. And so
we never actually watched anybody play the game. So we had no clue what was going to happen.
Yeah. So we didn't watch and we didn't know anything that was going to happen that was going to, have our jaws drop. So when it happened, it was just something. It was just crazy. It was a great experience. We were just slowly uncovering all the foreshadowing in the game. We were trying to figure out like, oh, is it this or is it this or what's going on here? So when it actually happened, we still weren't expecting it, even though we knew it was a psychological horror. But I would have to say go in blind or as little as info as possible, other than the fact that a lot of people probably know it's a psychological horror. But it was such an amazing experience, and doing all the voices. I don't know if you've watched some of our Dokis, Alyss, but yeah, we did voices for all of the girls, like me and my wife.
Yeah, I think one of them for the girl in the bedroom.
Oh, that scene! You watched that one immediately. Yeah, that I was like, what the heck? That's the ball drop right there. That was actually the scene. So you saw it immediately. But yeah, they kind of ease you in where they're like, oh, it's gonna be like a visual dating simulator.
Yeah, I honestly
where you're gonna
thought the girls were gonna be more yandery types.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Well, what's yandery for those who don't know listening right now?
Well, if you've ever heard of Future Diary, that's a good.
Just psycho girls. That's
psycho girlfriends, stalker types.
Yeah.
Obsessive.
So yeah, it's
murders.
It's such a great experience though, that game. Like it really opened my eyes to like maybe trying new visual novels, but hopefully they'll hopefully I'm not expecting too much from them like I am with this one now.
Yeah. No, I know there's some good visual novels out there.
Especially when it comes to horror.
Have to look. Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty, but yeah, Doki Doki really stood out for me as a really good experience for a horror game. So I don't know. Anyone else want to chime in on this game?
Well, honestly, I never knew that was a horror game. Well, kind of like, I was like, when I saw that scene, I was like, oh my God, what kind of game is this?
It definitely goes places even after that. It's crazy where they go at, even after that scene that you're talking about. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it.
I know,
it's a 4-year-old game at this point. But my goodness. What about you? What about you, honey?
I'm gonna say there's a lot of horrifying things throughout that whole game, but like near the end of the main campaign, whatever, there's something that really freaked me out. I think I actually screamed, but
no.
it's just shocking.
Oh wow!
It really takes things in a direction you're not expecting. Oof.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
At the moment, we're still going through it right now because the plus for Doki Doki Literature Club is they added side stories which take place before the main campaign, where how all the girls met and how they formed the literature club, and there is no scariness at all to it, where because it's just them trying to like.
It's very disappointing, but
it's still nice knowing like having the relationships they do. Yeah. And so, I mean, I wish we played it backwards where we did the side stories first, but you don't unlock them until after the main game. So it kind of sucks that you can't do it that way. But it's such an interesting side stories, at least, because they talk about, you know, their problems and how they became friends. And I think it's still cool, but I still want that psychological horror twist to it, but there's not. At least we're not at the end yet, so we don't know.
I guess we don't know for sure.
Okay.
So far, we haven't ran into it, and we're pretty far into the side story. So at the moment, we're still playing it, and we're almost done. We're so close. We're so close, and then we can just close that book. But anything else we want to say about Doki Doki Literature Club?
I'm good.
All right, perfect. Hey, do you have something?
One thing, sorry.
Do you have anything?
How long is that game? Because I see that there's like more and more videos that come out from you. I was like, how long? Is there more to the story? It hasn't ended yet?
It took like 13 episodes, I think, for us to finish the game for the main game. But then like we have all the side stories, so it's kind of like I think
it really like doubles the length, I guess, when you do those side stories. But if you're just in it for the spooky stuff, there's really no need to go for the side stories.
Yeah, so you can avoid that if you want. And right now, that game is out on basically everything. It's on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, PC. So you guys can go pick it up wherever you want. And I think it's like $15 or something, which is not too bad for a store. So look into that if that's something you want to do, Alyss. But it's such a good experience. It's on my number 5.
Maybe me and reading stuff. It's not my forte on playing games.
No worries. You can just watch us then. Because we basically do it all in voices, so you'll enjoy the voice. I have like a manly voice on one of the girls, and I have like a shy and timid one, and Taylor has a robotic voice for one of them, and then like she has like a cheerful like it's kind of nice that we all had a variety when we were doing it, so it was really fun. But all right, so now on to number 4, because we can keep talking about one game all day.
Yeah. I know.
Number 4 for you, Alyss.
Well, going back to Death Stranding.
Ooh, that game.
That's my number 4.
Well, tell me what you love about it.
Yeah. Well, one, I love the music and the visual. Everything is so pretty in that game, even though it's like dark and everything. I still love it. And then the story. Oh, when you get to the ending, I don't want to say anything, but yeah, I was like jaw drop.
It's so good.
Like, I want more.
It's such a good experience.
I really love that game. I know it's not for everybody, but with just having it, I don't know, doing all those deliveries and stuff, I don't know, it kind of felt pleasing, I guess. Like, I felt satisfied just going, getting a package, taking it to somewhere else, not knowing whether or not you're going to get attacked or something like that. It was always fun. And then the cars.
It's such a great experience, that game. Like, I know it's sort of like a walking experience mostly, and you're a delivery man, but I just, you're right about the peacefulness. Like, it just feels satisfying walking in that whole world, just treading across what they say is the USA. But I mean, I heard they scanned everything in like New Zealand or something, or the Netherlands or something. So that's why it looks all rocky and terrain and stuff. So it looks, it's so beautiful. Like you said, there can be some dark moments in the story. Oh, I mean, I honestly think it's an absolute masterpiece. I mean, I can see like what you're saying is it's not everyone's, bread and butter, but I loved every second of it, and the story is so intriguing. The gameplay varies between relaxing and then full on action, especially by the end.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And then the music is just some of my favorite. I wouldn't have, found Low Roar if it wasn't for Kojima, like blasting Low Roar as like as like basically the soundtrack to that whole game. And then Churches, I wouldn't have discovered Churches if it wasn't for their cover of Death Stranding. I mean, there's so many great, amazing games amazing songs for that you can just put it on and relax while you're just walking is amazing. And
I know
it's beautifully strange, I think is the best way to just summarize that game, thanks mostly to Hideo Kojima's limitless imagination and his creativity. I mean, I was glued to the screen for a good month just taking in the pure vastness of this game, the world that he built, and winding down in the private rooms and listening to tunes and checking in with, our bridge baby, hashtag Lou.
Or taking a shower. No, I was kidding.
I've seen that part. What kind of game?
You're right there with me, aren't you?
Plus, you gotta love Norman Reedus.
And and his amazing fetus. Come on.
Yes.
Hashtag Lou. I love Lou.
BB. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then drinking Monster Energy drinks. I guess that was their branding.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about the cast. I mean, you say Norman Reedus. Yes, the cast is amazing. It's brilliant. All of them deserve every award that comes their way after that game, I mean, I grew attached to the protagonist the most, because it's fucking Norman Reedus. I'm sorry, I'm going to curse real quick.
Okay.
And you can curse. I'll allow it. And then
I don't really cuss a lot.
And then Guillermo del Toro.
About you.
Guillermo del Toro is amazing.
Oh, yeah. I love him.
He's always awesome as also the king of video games, Troy Baker. He plays
definitely.
And
when I heard he was on there, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this game.
I know. I love him as Joel in Last of Us, so it's so nice hearing him in others. I mean, he does so many roles, so it's just, I was like, oh my God, that's my Troy. That's my Joel.
Yeah.
but also, I gotta say, I have to hand it to Mads Mikkelsen. He plays one of the most unique roles I've ever seen in a video game narrative ever. He's just one of my favorite actors. And I watched him on the TV show Hannibal as Hannibal Lecter. He's amazing in there. And seeing him shine in a video game for the first time ever, it's just, man, it's great. And overall, I just enjoyed every moment of that game. And it's probably my favorite game of 2019, without a doubt. And it's probably up there in my top 10. So it's just, I would like to thank, and I think we need to thank Hideo Kojima for making this whole project happen, because, ignoring the haters on that game, which there are many, and pushing through this masterpiece as he had envisioned it. It's just what he envisioned is amazing, and no other game director could even do something like this. I think it had to be him.
Yeah.
Well, there's my 2 cents. Anything that you guys want to chime in? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just take over the floor on that one.
He was very passionate.
No worries. Yes.
It's such a good game. What about you, honey? Is there anything else? I know you don't know the game personally, but you know some of it.
I have to agree with Alyss, and what I have seen of it, I think is very beautiful. And I have heard the Church's song for it, and I have to say I really love that. So yeah, based on all that, 100% agree with you.
Yes, definitely.
I can't wait to see more of this game so I can see what the rest of it.
I think we're going to plan on streaming. We're going to stream the director's cut at some point. Yeah, you're going to have to chime in and watch it with us, or you should play it. You should go play the director's cut again.
I know. I don't want to get spoiled. Maybe.
I heard they only added a lot of they just added just a bunch of
deliveries, right?
They added a little bit of deliveries. They added a couple missions. They have a racetrack you can do. They didn't add too much. It's just quality of life improvements for the game, where it's there's a catapult where you can shoot all of your packages across the freaking continent to get to the other side. And you can have a jetpack now. It's really crazy. Nice. And you can have a buddy bot carry your stuff for you. That. So, I mean, it's just like little tweaks to make the game a little bit more enjoyable, because I think a lot of people, and I try to ignore it, but a lot of people didn't like the game because it's just a walking simulator. And I think they were just trying to add these little improvements to be like, well, not a lot of people finish this game. Let's try to add some stuff that will make the game a little bit more enjoyable, like launching launching your Amazon packages across the state with a catapult. Why not?
Yeah.
So there's just like, I don't think they added too much. I mean, I haven't dipped my toe into it completely, but I'm sure.
I know there's a new creature.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't know about that, but that sounds
There's a new
interesting.
creature. Yeah.
Ooh, okay, well, I can't wait to see that now. Okay, so.
His eyes lit up when you said that.
All right, well, Death Stranding, number 4, amazing pick, Alyss. Do you have anything else you want to say about it that I did not overshadow on you? Because I'm sorry, I love that game so much.
No, it's okay. The only thing I want to say is that I won't record this game for my channel because I'd hate to cut out the music.
Oh,
I know I'd have to. Yeah, that's the only thing I really want to. It's like, I want to keep the music in there too. I don't want it to just have no music.
Yeah, that's the problem
that's
too.
The best part.
I mean, we might have to do it, and I would just take the copyright, demonetize it. I would rather I would take the demonetization if it means I can just keep the music in there. That's
we're
fine.
far from being monetized. So.
Very far.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's just such a great experience, and we need the music is pivotal to that entire game. So, all right, number 4 before we this becomes a Death Stranding podcast.
Which if we do, I will have to reinvite you.
We would have to do a spoiler cast. We would need you for a spoiler cast. Okay, perfect. It's already done. It's going to happen in the future, guys. Look forward to that. Number 4, Witchley.
Okay. Nothing as big and grandiose as Death Stranding, that's for sure. But I say my number 4 is a game called Eve. It's a psychological horror adventure game. It was developed and published by Cowrie. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Back in 2012. It is his only game to date.
Okay.
So it's his one and only video game project he's ever worked on. So that in itself is interesting, I think. But in this game, once again, you play as a young girl. Her name is Eve, and her parents take her to an art museum to appreciate... Now let me try to get his name right. To appreciate the works of Gortana Weiss. It's a fictional artist, just in case anybody wonders. But in the museum, you actually wander off alone, and then there's a sudden power out. You quickly realize that you are alone inside the museum with the doors locked. So, thus starting the beginning of the horror game. Okay.
Give us the whole synopsis right now.
Well, basically, you're now down the rabbit hole, metaphorically. But going through this labyrinth of strange and unusual artwork, to try and find a way out, you actually find 2 other people who are lost in the museum with you. You quickly bond with them, creating great friendships with them. But these puzzles that you're solving with them are deadly, and some of them will eat you and try to kill you. And if you don't take care of the rose that you get early on in the game, you're as good as dead. But there are 2 different endings to this game, a good one and a bad one. And I don't want to say anything about it because it's actually quite jaw-dropping at a certain point in the game. I never played this game myself, but I've seen several different YouTubers play it over the years, and each time my heart's just pounding when I get to certain parts. And it's one of those pixelated games, so it doesn't have great details. But it is beautiful, I have to say. It's a very beautiful looking game. It's free to play on Windows, and the atmosphere of the game, like I said, is amazing and it's spooky, so anybody who's into horror stuff should definitely check this game out. You'll love the characters, obviously. It's terrifying. It would be terrifying to be in her shoes, honestly. Going through a spooky art gallery in this museum where the art's constantly trying to kill you. I just love it so much, so I don't know what else I could say about it.
It's a really cool concept with the art, like just trying to attack you in a museum. I've never seen, or I've never played a game like that where you're trapped in a museum like that. I know I've been in scenarios where I've played games where they have mannequins just moving around, which I do not enjoy at all.
Oh, yeah.
When you just look, or you turn around and then the mannequin's even closer to you, and I'm like, oh no, don't like that at all. But museum sounds interesting. I mean, that's an awesome concept.
It has a little bit of everything in it, so I think you'd enjoy it.
Do you know anything about Eve, Alyss?
No, that's the first time I've heard of it.
It's really good. You should check out some YouTube videos for it. Because my sister got me into it, I think, back in 2014.
Oh, okay.
Well, it sounds really...
You said it's called Eve?
Yeah, IB.
So it
IB.
But it's pronounced Ebe. I know, it's weird.
I think when I wrote it, I said EEB. So I was like, oh no. I crossed it out and I wrote IB because I was like, that's not how you spell it. My wife was giving me the twitch eye where she's like, why did you spell it wrong? But yeah, it looks interesting. It's like this 16-bit or whatever game and top down. It looks really interesting.
So. Everything just works perfectly in that game to give it that spooky style.
The artwork is very pretty too. The color is very vibrant. I looked it up right now.
I'm so glad you're looking it up. Now you can actually see what I was talking about.
Yeah. I thought it was with Eve. I thought it was Eve.
Like it's the word Eve, not Ebe.
Yeah, the Eve. Okay. Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that game.
It has a great story. Yeah. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Well, we might have to try to figure out our PC situations, and maybe we could do that on the channel.
Most of these things that affect our PC.
Yeah, most of Witchley's list is on PC, so this will be interesting.
Yeah.
To try to do eventually, just to appease my wife.
Yes.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about? Ebe, not Eve. Ebe.
Ebe.
All right. Well, then I'm going to move on to my number 4. Condemned.
Okay.
In general, the Condemned series. It was on the 360. It was actually the first game was a launch title for the 360, or I think close to the launch title. Condemned. You play like a nocturnal crime scene investigator and trying to solve like a bunch of murders or like that's going on around in the city. It's remarkable for its like lack of guns, because that's like the one thing. It's a first person experience, but you hardly use guns in there. I think that's really great. It's a proper flashlight horror game with terrifying unwashed enemies leaping out from all the corners of the shadows. And it does have like this awesome mechanic where you're using melee combat instead. Above all else means you have to carefully time your punches and blocks when you're battling your opponents. As police games go nowadays, this is like one up there for me, thanks to its horror game genre pumped into its bloodstream. You know? I don't know. It's just it was something that I didn't think I would enjoy. But playing it, you use like investigation tools, and then you're trying to solve all these murders at this. You're trying to like deduce too, so it's kind of nice that you're solving the crime, but then you're also experiencing this like psychological horror game around the whole city. It's an interesting concept for a game, and it's just something that stuck with me since the 360 days in like 2005 or 6. I don't know if you've played Condemned series, Alyss. There's 2 games in the series. Have you played it at all or know about it?
Yeah, I played both of them a long time ago.
They're so good, right?
I love them. Part 2 was kind of weird, but it's okay. I still liked it. I enjoyed it. Don't remember that much about it because it was so long ago, but
you had to at least tell me you remember the mannequin stuff.
On the first one, right?
Yes, the first one.
Yes.
Everyone knows
in the mall or something.
Yeah, it was like in the mall. Oh man, that was so scary.
Yeah.
Just it's mannequins moving when you're not seeing them. It's freaking just I don't like it. It's one of my favorite like concepts is like you just turn around and something moves. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen Doctor Who. Doctor Who, one of my favorite enemies is the Weeping Angels. They're terrifying and I love them, but I never want to be in a room with one.
Yeah.
So something like that. Anything else? I know which you've never seen the game.
I've never seen these games. I mean, about how passionately you talk about them, I'm definitely interested. I think it sounds really cool, and I'm very curious about those mannequins.
What's nice is the game is backwards. I think the first or second. I think both of the games are backwards on Xbox on the newer console. So it's nice that I can go get them.
Yeah.
And we can just play them again. I think that'd be great.
Xbox One, I think.
Yeah, Xbox One or Series X or Series S, you can still play backwards compatibility. And I think it's also on PC, probably on Steam.
Okay.
I didn't look that up. I apologize. But yeah, it's such a good series. Anything else we want to say about the Condemned series?
No.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Alyss, do you have anything else you want to chime in? I know you said you didn't remember it as much.
Well, I played the first one sometime last year. I think I only got to the part before the mall. So I didn't get to experience that again, but I remember it though. I do remember it.
At least someone knows my struggles.
Yeah. It was just, it was fun, but kind of like, I realized that it was kind of hard to fight the enemies too. It's like every time I try to fight them, I'd always get a punch from them. So, but it was still fun though.
Yeah, it was very hard. The melee is something really different that I wasn't used to, especially around that time in the 360 era for Xbox, where you had to, you had to block and you had to carefully, dodge the attacks and then fight them a certain way because they'll put their hands up and dodge your attack. So it was an interesting mechanic, and I love that it's different. And I remember playing that game in the dark, and I just could not advance any further on some stuff where I was like, I need to do this in broad daylight.
I love playing scary games in the dark.
It's so great. I mean, I don't mind doing it now, but when I was a kid in 2007, I was God, how old was I now? Shit, that is like...
Oh, that came out 2007?
I think 2007, the first game.
12?
Or 2006. Wow. But yeah, I was like 12 or 13. So I was one of those scaredy cat guys.
I was in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to head to high school. So that was, that's crazy.
You said 2006. You might have been 13.
13? Okay, yeah. So I was like still in middle school, right? Middle school?
I don't know what grade you were in when you were.
I don't remember.
Ahead. Some people are behind.
It's so crazy to think like 13 years ago. But that's it for Condemned. Well, we might have to do it on the channel at one point since you're now interested.
Wait, I was out of high school already in 2007. Yeah, wow, I'm old.
Number 3, Alyss.
Okay. Resident Evil. Of course, that had to be it was my number 1, but it dropped down after the other 2 games that are on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But Resident Evil.
Are you talking about the series as a whole, or are you just talking about the first game?
The series as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, the first Resident Evil was my first horror game that I've ever played.
Ooh.
Yeah. When I was, I think, 12.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a great.
It goes about 12. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know. I just loved it so much. The zombies and the way it was just like my first horror game that I've ever seen that was like that. So, but yeah, even though, what happened?
I said so. She holds a special place for you.
Yeah. But the first one though, I could not beat the end part. It was so stupid that it was, the books, how it opens.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know it opened.
Yeah, there's a lot of puzzles, especially when you're in that mansion in the first game, that it's hard to figure out some stuff, especially with the fixed camera angles. Yeah.
That was the best part. I love the fixed camera angles and the cheesy dialogue, too.
Oh, yeah. Jill Sandwich.
It was good. Yes, that.
I love that line so much still. Jill, you would have became a Jill Sandwich.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill Sandwich.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to show it to you, honey. You're like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
I've seen just like clips when people are talking about the first Resident Evil game and whatnot. Yes. So I know about the camera angles and whatnot.
Yeah.
I get
the camera
basic
angles
story, but good. I didn't get to see or like enjoy the whole game for myself or whatever. So I'm just learning new things.
Right? Well, is this your favorite? Is that your favorite one out of the whole series as a whole? Because I know there's like 20 plus games. I mean, you have all the spinoffs and whatnot and the main line, but is this your is the number one like a special place in your heart?
No, it's 2 and 4.
All right.
Because I love Leon. He is my
Leon
man.
is awesome. Yeah, Leon is amazing. 4 is such a gem, and I'm hoping that remake rumor is real, where they're going to remake that the 4th one. Hopefully, they'll do it justice.
I know. I just hope they don't mess up like they did a little bit on 3, even though it was still good, but they cut out, I think, 2 areas that were in the original.
They cut too much on 3, and it's so quick. You can finish that game in like basically a sitting. And
definitely.
But that second game is that remake for the second game for Resident Evil is so good. It's so good.
Oh yes. I love that one too.
I think we did it last year on our 31 Nights of Horror games, right?
I know we also played it before we were recording it, and it made us scream a few times.
Yeah, Mr. X. Oh my god, Mr. X is so great.
You're like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mr. X.
I like how they
great.
Made him a little better on the new one than he was on the original.
Yeah, he's so terrifying because you can just hear his footsteps even if you're in another room and you're like, he could be anywhere or underneath you or on top of you, or it's just crazy. It was just like you had to look out for him, especially with him. And it's so good. And then I have to say 7 was a great way to kind of revitalize the series as a whole. I remember playing that, like, God, is that a 4 or 5 year old game now? That's crazy.
I think so. But I played that in VR.
I did too. We did one episode in VR last year in our 31 Nights of Horror games, and that is terrifying. It's so terrifying. And then Resident Evil 8 Village. I know you played it on your channel, and we did too. Oh, that one was so fun to play.
Yeah. I played it first on my own time because I wanted to experience it. And then, I do say that it is my second play on the videos, but I kind of wish I did record it on my first play, but I honestly wanted to enjoy it on my own time.
I get that, because we did it blind with everyone on streaming. We streamed that game because we didn't know how long the game was. I thought it was going to be longer than like the 7th game, and I think it is. We did like 5 episodes, but I think it's like 2 or 3 hours each on them. So those were fun.
That's a good length.
What do you think about the Resident Evil series as a whole, Witchley?
Like the ones I've seen, I really enjoy. They're very fun. My favorite out of all of them is probably 7 still. Because whatever gives me the most genuine scares is so great.
That's true.
And
the 7th one really did that for me.
It's such an interesting take on it too. Like, I never thought they would do like the swamps of Alabama or whatever, Louisiana. I think it's not Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Alabama.
Louisiana, yeah.
Like just like like the backward town or backward like woods with like this family that's like unhinged, and man, the way they were acting and all the gross stuff you could see in there. It's just it was brilliant. I loved, and in the first person, changing it to first person was something that was like a bold
that was
direction.
Different. Yeah,
but it works, and I'm glad they kept it with Village, where I was like, I was worried if they were going to go back to the third person. But I was like, it kind of works. Enjoyed it. Yeah, I still do, and I love that they're going back and doing kind of remakes and kind of tweaking stuff from the old stuff, and maybe kind of right their wrongs, especially when after 4, with 5 and 6, because they became more of an action series at that point than a survival horror. So
honestly, I never played 6. Or I only played 5, but like half of the game, because my sister had me play with her. And she wanted to go to her favorite chapters, so I didn't get to experience the whole game, like start to finish.
I see. Yeah, I never finished it either, but you're not missing much.
I know. That's what I heard, yeah.
So I'm just glad.
Yeah. I was kind of upset that they went actiony on those 2, but I really, really enjoyed 7 when it came back again as just horror. Yeah, I was like, yes, finally. Even though it was different, but it's still was like at the top of, okay, another Resident Evil scary game is coming out. So
yeah, it's just nice that they're kind of returning to their form and what sticks, and I love it. They're listening. I think finally Capcom is finally listening to their audience, so it's nice. Anything else we want to say about Resident Evil? We could go on for another podcast on this one.
Well, like on 8, they did start bringing back how 1 was more actiony and then scary too.
Oh yeah, I love that. The baby in the basement is the most terrifying thing. Yes. Everyone knows what we're talking about if you guys have watched any of our gameplay or Alyssa's gameplay. Man, the baby was the most disturbing thing in that game.
It was nighttime when I was playing that part too.
Oh God, I can only imagine what you were going through. I think we were doing that night too, but
I was so scared.
Oh my God, like that was the most terrifying thing, was dealing with that. And it was nice because it felt like each area in Village was just like its own like different theme. Like I feel like they got inspiration to do like what they were doing with Resident Evil 2 in the castle, and then going into the basement kind of felt like a little bit like PT again. Where it's like, ooh.
Yeah, that's what I had to feel too for that.
And then you go back into the swamps, and it kind of feels like Resident Evil 4 again.
7. Or that, yeah,
or
4.
Oh, yeah, or 7. And then, like, I think by the end, it was like the mechanical laboratory.
That one was a little different.
Yeah, it felt like it was nice that we got a variety of stuff that was going on in that game. But yeah, that will forever haunt me. Is the baby thing.
I just wish that part was longer. I really enjoyed that one.
I agree.
Yeah, finding out how to get out of there with like the escape room with basically nothing, and then like dealing with that is just insane. Like I think I got eaten up by the monster in there, and it was very horrifying to get captured by that thing. Did you ever get captured?
No.
Oh, it is terrifying.
When I got into that area, and you know how you can hide in the closets? Mm-hmm. I knew something was going to happen. I was like, okay, this is a sign. Something's going to chase me.
I don't think we paid attention. We weren't paying attention to the closets, so when it caught me, its mouth unhinged like a snake, and I was terrified of the result. So... But yeah,
I saw gameplay of that part.
But that will leave a memory in our heads forever. Anything else about Resident Evil? That could be an entirely different spoiler chat thing on that one later.
Who's next?
Your turn, Witchley.
Number 3, right?
Yeah, number 3.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Wow, my number 3 horror game is Sally Face. It's a indie horror point-and-click game. It was created, developed, and published by Steve Gavery, who you may know as Portable Goose. In this game, you play as Sal Fisher. He's also known as Sally Face. He has a prosthetic face due to a horrific accident when he was younger. He has a handheld game system called the Gear Boy, which, with a special video game cartridge, helps him talk to the dead. So, yeah, you get to go around doing like your own little paranormal investigations, which I just really love. With his newfound friends at the Addison Apartments, he solves murders and horrifying mysteries that are happening around him. Whether you are solving a murder or trying to figure out why the bologna tastes so strange. This game keeps getting darker and more jaw-dropping as it goes. Sorry, I can't seem to get my words coming out of my mouth smoothly today. But I did read that Steve Gavery said this game was sort of inspired by 90s cartoons and his own nightmares. So that's pretty messed up. But anyway, I always loved the paranormal and dreamt of conducting my own investigations as a teenager.
Yeah.
Don't know how I would do experiments, but that would be interesting. But this is another game that like sort of reached beyond my level. And even got me sleuthing through my own memories, connecting weird happenings in my life that probably aren't related in the slightest. But I had such a great time. and I just fell in love with this game so much.
Mm.
Connor can tell you that there's some messed up, horrifying shit in this game.
There is, like, Witchley showed the game to me, and I was sold on the game immediately because I was like, okay, we need to play this game on our channel, and we've done it on the channel now, and it's already out. But it's just like, I thought my expectations were like, when I first started the first chapter, I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna be for the rest of the game. There's 5 chapters of the game, and this is how it's gonna be. Nope. No. I was not expecting the results to be what they were by the end, and man, it changed quite a bit after the baloney incident. Which is one of our favorite things, and that, like, it's probably one of my favorite things we did. I had to do a compilation because I kept saying baloney wrong. On purpose. I kept saying it Bologna, and she kept saying it's baloney.
It's baloney.
So there's a whole compilation of us just like talking whenever they said baloney. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that game it's something. It's a game that you need to go through with little expectation, and just so you can get your jaw dropped when the stuff happens. But have you ever played the game Sally Face, Alyss?
No, I've heard of it though. One of my friends, she really loves that game, and she told me about it. I never played it though. I didn't know that was a guy. I thought it was a woman.
Connor kept calling him her throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's he. It's a boy.
I know. It's just, when you're identifying as a woman's name. Yeah. I guess I just kept assuming that he was a she. Ooh. That's on me. I apologize.
The hair too, ponytails, and then just the mask.
That does get confusing.
It is such an experience though for that game. Like, I think you're gonna have a good time if you do play on it, and the game is on Switch and on PC, so you have options. Oh, okay. So it's really good, and it works well on console. It does work really well. And I think it's like $15 or something on Switch, I think. So it's not too bad. And on PC probably. So
yeah, I've been writing down those details, but apparently I didn't with this game, so I can't tell you.
It's an experience to try, and I think you get a kick out of it. Is there anything else we want to say about it?
No, honestly, I'm good. I put in my 2 cents.
Perfect. Well, is there anything else you want to say, Alyss?
No, I'm good.
Perfect. Well, that's Sally Face, guys. Check it out. Check out our channel for it, and maybe Alyss will do it in the future.
Yes,
maybe.
My number 3 is Alan Wake. It's one of the finest psychological thriller games I've ever played. If you love Stephen King's work, this is like his work crafted into a video game. It feels like a Stephen King novel. The story is so well done, and it goes places I didn't expect. I love the gameplay mechanics with this game, where you use the light as a weapon, with your flashlight and stuff, and it's just, and the story is so great that goes with the gameplay mechanics, that while you're battling everyone, it's such an amazing story, and it kept me on my seat, and I wanted to keep playing it every time I did play it. And I think it came out in 2011, I think. It's about a 10-year-old game now, and it's just so brilliant. I love it's by the developer Remedy, and they've made some really amazing stuff. They made Control recently. They made Quantum Break. They did do the first 2 Max Payne games back in like 2005 and stuff. So they have if anything, Alan Wake is like their magnum opus, I think. But they're still making some stuff, and they've slowly kind of creeped in that they may be making more Alan Wake later, or it's set in the Control universe as well, so they're kind of in the same universe now. So it's kind of nice that they're kind of just bleeding everything together, where it's like, oh, it's their own Remedy verse. So
yeah, I
don't know. Have you ever played the game, Alyss?
No, but I've always heard of it, but I didn't know what kind of game it was.
It's like a third person.
Sounds interesting, though.
It's like a third person over the shoulder, and you're using flashlights. You always have to keep putting batteries back in because you will lose, your battery really quickly.
Yeah.
And you do use guns. So what you do is like you point at you point at like the monster, and it's like a shadow. It's like some kind of shadows of people that's in this like village or this town. This town. It's on the lakeside of this town. Or with the town, I mean.
Yeah.
And I love the mechanics because you have to weaken the monster with the flashlight, then you shoot them, and then you're able to just get rid of the shadow monster. It's so interesting. I love the mechanics of there, and the story's great. It's about this guy, Alan Wake, who has writer's block and he can't write anymore, and so he goes to this town with his wife and trying to get inspiration, and shit goes sideways after that. So.
Well, he won't have
a lot of inspiration for you. I know.
So it's such an interesting tale, and I know which.
It sounds interesting.
I know we played it last year. We only did one episode.
Yeah, you showed me the first chapter, I guess, and I got Stephen King vibes from it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Stephen King. If you love Stephen King, you'll love this. King.
Yeah, I do.
So, and remaster is coming out on October 4th.
That's what I heard.
So don't sleep on this game.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I know.
And it's not a full price game. It's going to be like $30, which I don't think is too bad for a remaster. And it comes with all the DLC. Yeah. So I think it's kind of just mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a good time if you decide to play it. I do want to do it on the channel. We only did one episode because last year we did this huge thing where we did 31 Nights of Horror Games where we just played one game. As long as we could for that one episode, that one day. And
that was quite ambitious.
It was a very ambitious thing. This year we're only doing 13. We're only doing 13 because I can't do 31 again because it was a lot of editing. I edited all our videos. I think we only streamed a couple times, but I edited everything. And some of those were like down to the hour or the minutes before they were supposed to come out the next day. So it was very a daunting task, and Alan Wake was one of those, and that would be something I would love to play on our channel. But anything
you
else
should, yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say about Alan Wake?
No, good.
No, I know I need to pick it up though. It sounds interesting.
Well, we'll move on to number 2, Alyss. Number 2.
Well, number 2, I don't know if you would say it's a horror game, but Bioshock, the whole series.
Ooh. I would say horror wise. I mean, at least on the first 2, I would have to agree with you.
That's what I've heard. That's another one of those games that I haven't gotten to experience yet.
She hasn't.
Oh my gosh, you should.
Would you kindly experience this?
What?
She knows what I'm talking about. Would you kindly experience this?
Oh, so it's an inside joke. I got it.
It's part of the game, yes. But she knows what I'm talking about, which makes my day. That made my day. I'll talk about Bioshock. What do you love about it so much?
You should really experience just everything about it. I love the concept of the what is it? A city underwater, and then just shit went crazy and stuff. So, and then finding out why you're there, why is everyone like this and stuff, and the powers were cool. I really loved all the plasma powers and stuff. But yeah, the atmosphere of it was just amazing, and the music, always the music with me.
Oh, yeah. I'm a sucker for music. I was a drummer for 12 years, so I love music. Like I love jazz is one of my favorite musics to listen to just randomly sometimes. Where I'm just like, this is nice.
Is the jazz in Bioshock?
No, not really. It's kind of like violins. There's violins in there a little bit.
It's what 1960, I think.
Oh,
it's that era of music.
Yeah,
or like 1950s. Yeah, I love that time of music too. So I was like, yes, this is my game. And then the last game, that one, I know it's not too much of a horror, but Infinite, that one just had me thinking so much, especially when you get to the end and all the possibilities that could have happened.
Yeah, I love Infinite. That's one game I would love to show my wife. She's not seen any of the Bioshock games, or she's seen some of it probably, but she's not experienced it like we have.
The one I was most aware about was Bioshock Infinite, just because
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker again. That was the year of the Troy Baker. That was the same year as Last of Us.
Oh, I just remember commercials while watching TV. I was like, I don't remember seeing video game commercials before. I think that was probably the first one that actually caught my attention. But
it's so good. Like the whole series as a whole, and it kind of like it all kind of like jives together, especially by the third game.
Yeah.
The third game kind of just says like, oh, it is in the same universe, sort of. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's like sort of in the same universe. And so like possibility wise, like you're saying, and yeah, the atmosphere for the first two games is amazing, where you're down in the depths of the underwater, which is probably one of the most scariest things ever, probably, because we don't know what's down there, as well as space. Yeah. But yeah, underwater is crazy, and then like dealing with all the powers,
the big daddies
and the little sisters. I did love the morality thing in that game too, where you had to choose whether you wanted to keep the little sisters alive or harvest them for their powers.
Yeah.
I know. So you get to choose, and then there's two different endings to the first game where like, oh, did you save every little sister in the game, or did you devour every little sister in the game?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So yeah, it's pretty fucked up, but it's so good. And that's a game we're gonna have to play at some point, honey.
I'm definitely
the second one you get to play.
Second game you get to play as a Big Daddy, and then the third game you play as Troy Baker's character, Booker DeWitt, and and that takes place in the sky.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah. So when I heard like,
Columbia,
the first game at least takes place under the sea. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with the franchise. I don't even know what you could do next after going to the sky and the sea. So I guess it would have to be space.
There were rumors on making another one, but I don't know if it's for sure.
I wouldn't mind if they just, did the first game again.
Do like a remaster.
Yeah. Like a remaster or like a new coat of paint on it. I wouldn't mind if it's just the same mechanics, but like it looks really pretty. And
another DLC or something.
I wouldn't mind, but that is a good choice. I love that whole series. We'll have to do it on the channel. Maybe you will have to do it too.
Maybe. That's another long game. I'm not sure if I can handle.
I understand.
I love to explore. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go. Keep going.
Okay. No, I was gonna say it's just I love to explore. So a long game, I will take hours on that game, and I hate missing things that I know I want to see just for the channel. So it's like maybe that game's a maybe too.
Yeah,
I hear you. There's some games where it sinks me in, where I'm like, I want to explore every inch of this game and get every trophy and every or achievement, and just I want to have 100% completion. It kind of just feels satisfying. Just to enjoy everything that these amazing game developers and companies work on. And Bioshock's one of them.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. Well, number 2.
Okay.
On Witchley now.
Okay. My number 2 game, Limbo. Yes, Limbo.
Good choice.
Thank you. It's a puzzle platform horror game developed by Playdead and Double 11 that was first released in the summer of 2010.
Ooh, 11 years ago.
Right?
Wow.
This game has been called It's been called genius and a masterpiece, and I honestly could not agree more. The black and white movie feel, the eerie atmosphere is not only visually pleasing, but I think creates a mysterious and nostalgic kind of feeling. But you play as a young boy. See, there's another theme in my games. You play as the young ones. Play as a young boy who wakes up in a forest on the edge of hell. Because you're in Limbo. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? From there you encounter a giant murderer spider, people who seem intent to kill you, and sadistic puzzles that will horribly mangle and destroy you. The gruesome deaths are very funny, unfortunately. Especially when you put it to the right music. One of my favorite things when we played this game was our our death montages. We had the best death montages. But anyway, I do think this is a must play for anyone who enjoys puzzle and horror. The art style alone has actually greatly inspired me with my past endeavors, so it's no surprise that it's in my top 5.
Alyss, have you ever heard of Limbo? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I've heard of Limbo. I just never played it though.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's just I love the way the art style is, and Playdead makes such great stuff. I mean, they made Inside after this one.
I have that game.
That game is so good. Like Both of those games.
I have not played it yet.
You're in for something because we played them both on our channel. And
nice.
I say anyone that's listening, please watch those because we do an amazing death montage at the end. They're really funny. Yes. I didn't know I could make death look funny, but they are funny. So you have to stay to the very end of each episode and you'll see a death montage of every death in that episode. It's really funny. But Limbo is so great because even by the end of that game, even with all the puzzles and everything trying to kill you, there's so much left to interpretation, especially with the inside. You kind of have to talk about both of them at the same time because they're so great. And the puzzles are great. They don't feel too challenging, though you do have to time stuff when you're doing the puzzles.
I'm not
like
good
that.
with the timed things, so I had to have Crazed take over on some of those.
A little bit. But
sometimes those are hard.
They are very hard, but they feel gratifying when you solve them, and they're pretty easy. They don't feel like too much of a challenge, though. They didn't, but I know some people could see it as a challenge, but it's just, I love the art style, the black and white. I don't know if I can say anything more about this. I mean, I think we beat it to death in a couple podcasts episodes ago, but it's so good. Anything else we want to chime on Limbo?
The side scroller. I don't like side scrollers. I think that's why I haven't played it.
That makes sense.
It's not for everybody.
Cup of tea.
It's so hard. But I kind of want to play it though. And the inside that I got. Yeah,
you'll love them both.
They're both great experiences in their own right, and they're both side scrollers, but they're so fun. I think you'll have a good time, even though if you're not a fan of side scrolling, I think you'll still have a good time.
Yeah,
I would
like to get out of my comfort zone sometimes.
I would love to see how many times you die, just out of curiosity. So if you do
Probably
it, you got to let me know when if you ever do it. Perfect. Well, that is Limbo. It's basically on everything and like freaking mobile devices. I think you can get it on almost anything now.
Yeah.
So look out for that, guys. It's like probably $10 somewhere on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, your phone.
It's always on sale on PlayStation.
I always keep seeing it on sale, so I'm like, well,
yeah.
It's so good. It's worth even at full price. I'd still buy it at full price, but yeah, even on sale, it's still a good deal. So that is Limbo, guys. I already said my number 2, which was Visage. So we're going to move on to number 2 with Alyss because I want to say my number 1 for last.
Okay. Well, number 1, right? Not number 2?
No, you're on number 2. Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
Did you already say number 2?
No.
So it's Bioshock, right? For number 2?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the number 1, Alyss.
Okay. Back to where it all started with PT. Silent Hill.
The whole series as a whole, right?
Yes, all of it, even the bad games. I love them all. 5, I could maybe get into again, but it wasn't my favorite. It was like the least one that I didn't like. The Homecoming. Yeah. But all of it though, that was my second actually scary game that I played. The first one after Resident Evil. But yeah, I love that game. I used to know a lot about it, like everything what happened, like the stories, the psychological stuff about it. But lately I kind of forgot because I haven't been getting into it lately. But it's like, I just loved everything about it. The music, I have, I think, all of the soundtracks except for Downpour. I would listen to those all the time when I was younger, just drawing too. So that was like my go-to music. Even though it was just a bunch of sounds and stuff, but it was still good. But yeah, it was a really good series. I really hope they continue to make more, but if they don't, it's okay.
I hope so too. There's rumors right now. Well, actually, I don't think it's much more of rumors. It's more of confirmation now. Konami's secretly, well, not secretly, they're working with Bloober Team, which did like Layers of Fear. They worked on Blair Witch. They are actually partnering with Konami for a game, and they didn't say it's Silent Hill, but come on, it has to be Silent Hill. So I'm hoping.
I really hope. Yeah.
And then, like I said, PT. I mean, if Kojima and Konami would have worked things out, or I wish things worked out better, we would have had such an amazing, terrifying experience of a game. that it was PT, because man, everyone still talks about that game to this day. And in the trailer, yes, and Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro were gonna work with them, and then then when they left, it was like, hey, you want to come work with me on this game called Death Stranding? So I think that was pretty great. I mean, I told Witchley about the whole Konami incident with Kojima, and she was like, oh my god, those buttholes.
That's putting it in a mild term.
My brother kept telling me all the stuff that was happening because he loves Hideo Kojima and with Metal Gear and stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he would tell me all kinds of stuff. I was like, yeah, I know. Why did they have to?
They did him dirty.
I know.
I'm just glad that he's on his own. Well, yeah, he has his own company, and he was able to get a game out so soon. And I'm just nice
Works
that
for
he's
Sony
okay
now too.
Yeah, so going back to Silent Hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the concept of Silent Hill. I haven't played all the games. I played I played 2 because 2 is like the most renowned one everyone loves.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I learned this later on, but like I loved how like Konami used what technical limitations they had for the hardware at the time for Silent Hill to establish that mist, because they couldn't render all of the enemies in the buildings around them with the game. So they're like, how about we put a mist where you can't see anything until you get closer to the object? And that was because they couldn't, and they had to have so many few enemies scattered around the map. So it was just,
they come,
But with that limitation, made that game such like a thrilling, it had like this amazing suspense. You didn't know what was in front of you. You didn't know what was behind you. I mean, it had made this thrilling atmosphere that I quite enjoyed. And I love that they had to just use what they had at the moment just to make Silent Hills. Like, so it's not Silent Hills, Silent Hill. I apologize. Talking about Kojima again. But yeah, it was
all of the Silent Hills.
I just love how they just use the technology at hand to make something that just works now, that works in their favor. So I love that. I definitely want to play more at some point. I know it's kind of hard to get those games again and play them on modern consoles, but they're there. Yeah. They're there if you can try looking. I know some of them were on like the Wii, and I think was it Homecoming or Downpour that was on the Wii, or was it just on the Wii?
So?
Yeah,
I have that on the PS3.
Then it was on PS3. I apologize. I don't know. See, it's like on. It's not even on modern consoles. It's just like it's 2 generations back. So
yeah,
I just wish there's an easier way we can play these great games that are like almost 2 decades old now. So, but yeah, Silent Hill.
I still have all my originals.
Wow,
that is awesome.
I just don't think I have the PS1 anymore. I don't know where that's at. I know I still have my games.
It's nice that you still have your games though. It's just nice to have just memorabilia like that. So and just have a little. I used to have
the guidebooks for them too.
Ooh, was it the Prima guides?
I think so. I have the first one still because I wanted to at least keep one guidebook because they were collecting dust on my shelf. So I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of them. But I kept the first one. So
for I was like, I have to keep reasons, this. I love that.
Yes.
But I'm glad that was your number one. That is such a great choice. Anything else you want to say about Silent Hills, honey? Do you have? I know you haven't had too much experience.
Had too much experience. I always thought they looked like fun and creepy games, and I was curious about getting into them one day. But like we've said, it's sort of hard to play them all.
Yeah, they are pretty hard to play now.
At least, hopefully, they can like even do like a special thing like they keep doing for like the Sonic the Hedgehog games, and just
if you're gonna play one though for the first time, I think the close you'll get is the HD collection. I know that one is not as good.
Yeah,
I guess I haven't played it.
Well, the craziest thing is they lost the source coding, so they had to remake those games, and they don't work the same way. Like you don't have the mist in front of you or the fog, or the fog doesn't work all the time. So that's what I heard. Was that they had to redo the code and they lost it.
Oh wow!
And that happens sometimes. A lot of people lose the source code to the game, and so they can't remake the game. They have to just emulate it as best they could. So that's why the HD is renowned as kind of not the best experience to play it, but it is an experience to try at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I think
I'll have to give it a shot. I know it's backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So that's
I know you could play 1 on PS3, I believe. I could be wrong.
Well, we will try to look up how to do it.
Yeah. Because I've been wondering, how do I play the first one again without having to emulate it on my computer? I just want to play it on the console.
Konami, get it together. Come on. Just make a collection. I
haven't figured it out either. That too.
One day. just one day, I hope. But yeah, that's such great. And then, I have to say, the first, I watched the first movie, and it's real. I like that movie. I don't know why. It's like one of the, not the worst video game adaptations there has been on most games, but that's a really good one.
The only thing I didn't like.
Sure.
Who?
I was asking Witchley, has she seen the movie?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But have you seen it, Alyss? Have you seen the movie?
Oh, yeah. I've seen both of them.
Sean Bean's in the first one. Is he in the second one?
My mom was telling me about that. I have not seen them.
It was the one he doesn't die in.
Wow.
I know.
And there's a count where he's died in most of his movies.
Although I don't think he died in Black
Pretty much. Oh, was he in that movie?
Yeah, he had a very short part, so of course he wasn't gonna die. But
his character just died. No.
Yeah, once they got off screen, he just dropped it.
Yeah.
Well, anything else we want to say about Silent Hills as her number one? Good pick, by the way, Alyss.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're moving on to one on Witchley.
Yes.
Alrighty.
All right, your turn, honey.
Yeah. I'm gonna... Okay, it's not working at the moment. I was going to try to not trip over my own words this time. But it's not going well so far. Okay.
It's okay.
It's just because I'm too happy and giddy at the moment.
Yeah.
Hey, my number one. At least for the time being, it's subject to change. This whole list is subject to change. But at the moment, it's The Witch's House. It's an RPG horror puzzle escape room game. It was developed by Fummy, I think that's how you pronounce it, and was released on October 3rd back in 2012. But I did just recently learn that they had an HD remake of the game, and it came out on Halloween back in 2018. But in this game, you play as, once again, a young girl named Viola, however you want to say it.
Violetta?
No, it's just Viola.
Viola?
Yeah.
Viola, okay.
Viola. But anyway, you wake up in a forest. Sounds familiar. But you are accompanied by a black cat who is also like your go-to when it comes to saving the game. Yeah, he saves your progress. Anyway, deeper in the forest, you find that your only option forward is to go into the witch's house, which is basically a magical death trap mansion. As you work your way through the house, you will find witches' diaries all around, and you will learn about her past, how disturbing and demented it may be. But anyway, I think this game is really fun and creepy. I know you okay, so these deathly puzzles, and one of the earlier ones is that you gotta grab a teddy bear and cut off its limbs and stuff it in a basket in order to unlock a door. So this could be quite morbid at times. And there's sad things and horrific things, whatever. It's scary, but I just like the overall feel, and it's like right up there in a horror game for me. I know you can play the HD remake on Steam. It's about $15 on there. But I know the original one, and I'm not sure if you can still find it or not. But I know it was a free download for like most computers. I found it available pretty much anywhere you can find it on the internet. It was a free download. I tried playing it back in 2014, but my computer couldn't handle it. So I never actually got to play it. I was so close, but plans fell through, sadly. I think it is a perfect October game. It's definitely creepy and intense. One of my all-time favorite horror games, and I think it just has all my spooky favorites wrapped into one game. So I definitely have to say I recommend it, like 100%. It's fun. You'll probably have moments where you freak out, but so many death traps. It's fun. So yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, you're selling me. I mean, you always keep talking about how you love this game, so that's something.
It's the game that got away.
We'll have to definitely try doing it for her.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have the HD thing that's out, and we'll definitely have to do it on the channel. But yeah, it sounds interesting. I love the puzzle mechanics where you have to kind of think outside the box on some of those, and then I guess there's a lot of horrific deaths. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, there's morbid ways to die in this game.
Have you ever heard of the game, Alyss?
No. I've looked it up again too. I was like, this kind of reminds me of what is that one game? The Yowawari game?
I've heard of that one.
I think. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, like top down, walking through this town, and then I think you go into a house or something like that too. But it looks interesting. The witch's house looks interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Perfect for those who are morbid.
I married right.
Morbid's always good times. I know.
But yeah, it sounds like an interesting title, honey. Do you want to say anything else about it?
No, that's pretty much what I wrote down.
I just love that you're very passionate about it. I think we'll have to do it just to appease you.
Just to appease
me. Definitely.
But no, I think I'll quite enjoy it though. I think it sounds right up my alley.
I don't want you playing it if you find it absolutely not in your taste.
No, it kind of. I looked at gameplay for it, and it kind of reminded me of like the Eve, kind of like with that not the same art style, but kind of just that
similar.
Same feel.
It has
the feel, yeah.
But yeah, that's a great choice, honey. I think, and you're very passionate about it. And I love that about you. So you're very passionate about this game. So we'll have to give it a shot, and we'll have to get the PC thing working at some point. That way we can do it on there. That'd be fun. So,
that would be fun.
Oh, definitely.
Anything else we want to say about it? I know you just looked it up. I know a little bit about it, and Wishley knows a whole lot about it.
I've watched.
Well, at least she can help you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. She can guide you.
I could guide you. I know it has like a couple different endings, but they're both basically the same. But my God, is it jaw dropping? But
well, I can't wait. That is Matt. That is the Witch's House.
The Witch's House,
and that is on Steam for $15. And I think it's just the HD version, which is supposed to be
the HD version on Steam. I think you could still get the original one for free on like Windows to play, but.
Okay.
I haven't actually looked into it to see if you could still download it.
We need all these games on consoles. Come on, just add it on Switch.
I know, right?
I always say everything needs to be on Switch.
Great on the Switch.
All right, well, that is The Witch's House. My number one, which I'm saving, I saved for last, is Dead Space. I love Dead Space so much. It kept me on my toes the entire time. It kept me tense. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I've never felt safe just standing around in this game. You play as an engineer named Isaac Clarke, and you go to this engineering ship that you lost connection to discover that something horrific happened over there, and it deals with like these monsters called necromorphs, and it just, oh man, it had big Alien vibes. If you love Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien, they had this amazing mechanics in the game where you had to dismember like the enemies. It's just something of that kind of mechanics is something I've never seen before in a game or any other games. And I have to say the UI design is amazing. It's very clean. You don't even have like, your health bars on your back. Like you have your health bar on your back, and it goes up the spine. And as you take damage, it goes down. So that's your only way of knowing if you're down on health. It's just so great. Later on in the series, it deals with like your psyche, your mental state after going through the first game. And you have to play with headphones. Like you'll hear everything. You'll hear all the crazy noises that's going on inside, the ship. And It's just so good. I don't know how I play that game like almost yearly. Just for fun.
You played that a little bit with me last year, right?
Yeah, we did one episode of the first game.
I don't think we did headphones, so I didn't get the full experience.
We'll have to do it now. Have you ever played the game, Alyss?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't really like space horror games.
I get you. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely up there for me just because of how terrifying it is and just the experiences. And there's some really in the way you can die in that game. There's some really creepy ways you can die in that game. And later on in the series, it kind of progressed as kind of like with Resident Evil. I mean, it has that Resident Evil feel where it's like, oh, you know, you're not safe. You're not even safe if you turn a corner. You never know what's about to pop out of a vent or something.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. And it has to be my number one. And later on, it kind of did the same thing with what Resident Evil was doing with their later on in their series, where it kind of became less of a, you know, survival horror and more into the action, especially by 3 standards, where it didn't feel like as terrifying, but they had its moments. And what I loved it did deal with like your mental state, because you experienced all this trauma in the first game, and it kind of stays with you. And it messes with you, and it's such a great experience. And they're currently remaking the first game right now. So it's Dead Space 1, yes. And so I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with the new graphics. If they just keep, you know, the same mechanics with the dismemberment the same, I'll be happy, and I'm excited. And I go back to that game yearly. It's on backwards compatibility on Xbox, so you can play all 3 games. They're really great. Even though 3 isn't like as good as the first 2, I still think the 1. It's really hard to capture that genie in a bottle after 1, but it's really great. I don't know what else I can say about this game other than play it with headphones and play it in the dark.
No, I'm definitely interested in seeing the rest of that game.
We'll have to do it. There's so many games. I mean, we could have had top 10 and we would have been talking for another 3 hours. That's why I thought 5 was great for us. But it's so great to see all the variety we had on each of us. Like, Witchley was focusing on indie. I was focusing on stuff as well. and so was Alyss. You know, we all had our different things that we grew up with and that we love, and it still sticks with us to this day. I love it. So
definitely,
that was 15. There's 15 games for you guys, and if you guys want to play them, they're some of them are easy to find, some of them are not. But that was 15 horror games, and some of them we've done on the channel. And Alyss has done too. So please take a look at that. Before we wrap up, we have 2 emails. Questions. I'm going to ask, we're going to do the first one because I just got this one. Unfortunate Corpse 83 asks, what's the perfect game to set your mood for the fall season? Alyss, I'll let you answer that one first.
Oh, there's so many choices, honestly. I would probably have to say, what was it? Days Gone. Yeah. I would have to say that.
Why does it give you fall season vibes, out of curiosity?
It just, I think you're in Oregon, and it's like a bunch of trees, even though it's not changing any colors, but you got that nice rainfall coming down once in a while. Just sitting on your couch or wherever, playing this game, riding your motorcycle through the mountains, and then you got the snow area you get to go to. So for me, it's relaxing because you could just drive everywhere you want to, and then kill some zombies here and there, take some frustration out. But yeah, it's just really relaxing. For some reason, just I don't know. That game was always relaxing. Yeah.
I can see that. That's a really great choice.
That makes perfect sense.
I've only played a little bit of that game, and I can kind of see the vibe you're talking about, where you're just
really
driving
good,
around on your motorcycle and just Yeah.
There are some fast tracks too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's a great choice.
Yeah.
Is there any other choices, or is that just the one?
I don't know. It would just be random for me lately because I try to take breaks from games sometimes because I get burnt out. Mm-hmm. But that one would be my go-to game if I wanted to play during the fall. Yeah.
Well, it's not a bad pick. How about you, Wishley?
We had already talked about this before, but me and you both have the same game.
Yeah, when I got this question, I immediately thought of this game, and so did Wishley. So I think we'll have to say it at the same time. Do you want to say it at the same time?
Yes.
Night in the Woods.
Sorry, my phone is laughing.
Are you getting sales?
I have that game.
I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry.
Her phone is going off. I think it's sale. Honey, you might need to just vibrate that for a moment.
That's good.
Yeah, but Night in the Woods is so great for it just feels like a fall game. You know, like it just gets you right in the mood of it.
I mean, it sort of takes place in the fall season, so you got those pretty colors going on around you. You're getting ready for Halloween, so you get that like cold autumn vibe with the pumpkins and whatnot. And I think that little bit of a horror aspect with it definitely helps play into this season because it's notorious for the spooky things.
Yeah, it feels like a town that's just not quite right, and you try to figure it out. Orange choppy. Have you ever played Night in the Woods, Alyss?
I have the game, and I let my son play it.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, it is. I think your son would love it. It's really great with the
he liked it.
It's anthropomorphic characters, and I love some of the topics it deals and about like the character, you know, trying to go back to her own hometown after she didn't make it in college, you know, and a lot of people probably can relate to that. I mean, I never finished college. I was like a couple semesters, and it's daunting, you know, and.
It's so tiring.
It is. So I kind of related to that, and it kind of feels and it definitely sets the right mood for fall for me. And like Witchley was saying, the fall it basically takes place, I think, around the fall semester.
I think so. Yeah, it's a pretty game too.
Yeah, very pretty, and I love where they leave it. And
one of the best parts is jumping around as May, just jumping around the town.
That game is definitely going to be on my channel soon. Ooh. I don't know how soon, but it will.
Did we do the voices? That. Did we do the voices for everyone on ours?
I just used my own voice because I'm not big into doing voices.
Yeah, I did a lot of voicing, so that was.
I try to do voices, but I'm not that good.
I understand, but it's such a great game, and I'd have to say, if it wasn't just Night in the Woods for me, I would have to probably say I don't know why, but it's just horror games in general because it just gives me in the mood for fall. I don't know why, just because I guess because of October coming up and
movies. Yeah,
and movies too. So I just get that itch. Like I'm just having that itch to just play more horror games around this time because it's just that's what I want to do. So I guess I don't know what specific horror game in general, just horror games in general, and then Night in the Woods. So yeah, that would be that's our question answered. Thank you. And by the way, if you guys want to send us email questions or just chime us in on Twitter, I'll leave it down in the description below. But it's the grumblegamers@gmail.com. But we have one more question from Madman Sloth. He asks, does being a content creator change your gaming habits? Do you find yourself streaming or recording a game more for content? Do you force yourself to finish a game to talk about it or drop it to move on to the next thing? This is a very loaded question.
Oh, 3 questions then.
Yeah, basically like 3 questions in one question. But we can kind of break it down first. Does being a content creator change your gaming habits? So I think it kind of does, with I feel like there's games I want to show off more online and to an audience that we have right now and to play it by myself. And there were moments where I'm like, what, I just want to sit down and play this game for the umpteenth time, or just like you say, Alyss, just kind of go through the whole thing yourself and kind of enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, what about you, Alyss? I mean, I know you probably agree with me.
Sorry. Yeah, my like look changed for games too. Like it's a yes and no for me. I want to try to do games that I feel will be okay on my channel, and then I also want to play games that I like. I don't want to do random games that I don't like because then I won't enjoy it. I'll get frustrated and annoyed. It's like, why do I have to put this out? Shouldn't put this out because it's not what I wanted to play at the time. So, but I have. Go ahead.
I say I get that. I understand what you mean, where you're coming from. There's many situations where I think we've not finished games and we just done like 3 episodes, and I'm like, this is that's it. We're good. I feel like we give it the 3
I don't want to
roll,
get to that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and doing one-offs is like nice too, and if, like that's why we did it last year for 31 nights of horror games, where it's like, well, we could do 31 games, and then if someone likes something, which we were able to do Visage, we were able to do Spookies.
We really liked Visage and Spookies though,
and then we did Limbo and Inside. Spookies is so fun.
Awesome game.
But like, we used.
I want to do that actually too.
Oh, that would be so fun! I would want to see your run through on that because I was freaking out so much on Spookies. It was so great.
I was too.
But I mean, like we use that opportunity to like, okay, how about we just try all these games out, and if something sticks, we can continue on even after October, and that was nice. Like we got like 4 or 5 game series out of it, and we did one-offs, and it didn't work out, and we'll probably never go back to them. Maybe, I don't know.
There's some I would like to go back to,
which we could still do.
Yes.
So I kind of get that, and asking, do you force yourself to finish a game to talk about it or drop it? It's kind of the same question with the first one. Like, if we don't like something, we don't want to finish it, and if people don't like it, we're not gonna. I don't know. I just feel like I love video games. I've grown up with video games since I've been very young, and my wife didn't have the opportunity to play as much when she was young, but now has this opportunity now to play more.
You still got time.
Yes.
So it's just nice that I get to open up this window for her.
Definitely have seen the difference between someone who has gotten to play their whole life and somebody who hasn't, because I am not good at games at all. I am good at the easy ones, but
but I try to find games that I know that my wife's going to enjoy, and then that's going to be.
That's
great
how I am with my son. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally see that from the games you're playing with him, and it's so adorable, and I think it just works for your channel. I love it so much.
Thank you.
But I usually just one-off episodes for games that we do, and then if there's something that sticks, we kind of just we go full force on it. And there's some that we know for a fact, like we want to do this, like we're gonna see this through to the end. So it's more on us than sometimes our viewers, because our viewers are like, hey, this was really fun, we want to see more of it, but it's mostly just because we really want to do it and we enjoy these kind of games. And we definitely have expanded on stuff like I would have never touched a visual novel like Doki Doki, but we did. So and it was a great experience, and I never would have touched Undertale or Deltarune or whatever, because like there's a huge fan base for that. And when we chimed in,
nice.
There was a lot of people that were helping us out with that game.
What a lovely community.
That's good.
It was such an amazing community. No one, there was one person that was kind of spoiling stuff for us while we were playing.
There's always going to be someone like that though.
But I mean, there was moments where I didn't want to finish Undertale, because there was moments in there's ways you can approach Undertale because of the way it's structured. You can go a pacifist route where you don't kill anyone, and then there's one route, the genocide run, where you kill everything and anyone in your path. So so you play it 2 separate ways. You can play it once that way, or play it the other way, or you can kind of be neutral where you do attack occasionally and then you spare other people. But we did it like that, where we played pacifist run, and then we went to genocide, and it was so daunting. It was so hard. It's such a harder experience. And the last boss in that game it almost broke me. I was like, I've been out I've streamed this guy for 5 hours, cannot get any closer. So I thought, you know what? I want to see it to the end. We're so close. So I spent a couple more hours on him by myself off air, recording the whole thing until I beat him. So I wanted to show everyone that we could do it on air on a stream, but I just didn't do that. I was like, it was just too tough, and I just didn't want to put that on my viewers, where I'm like, well, you're going to see 5 more hours of this, guys. So buckle up, Buttercup. I don't know. So, and then my wife was exhausted of it, and I was like, well, I'm just going to do it myself, and then we'll just do a voiceover on it. So or we'll do commentary.
Yeah.
So it was just, that was like one part where I kind of forced myself to finish it. Because it's not the right way to finish that game. By the way, don't ever do Genocide. If you ever decide to do Undertale, play it on Pacifist. I swear you'll have a better time. And we loved all those characters. The way we went about it was we did the Pacifist run. We loved every character we came across, and then we had to kill them all in another playthrough. Yeah. So don't do that. Don't. So, but yeah, that would be an example. I don't know. What about you, Alyss? I mean, I know I kind of beat it to death, but
it's okay. But like the forcing myself to play a game.
Yeah, to talk about it or drop it to move on to the next game, because you kind of want to be sometimes you want to stay with whatever that game or the next game is that's out right now because everyone's talking about that game. So I'm like, what about you?
I try not to do games that are out right now because it's like everyone else is doing it. Let me do a game that hasn't been done for a while, or like I have a lot of Japanese horror games on my computer that I really want to do, but I haven't figured it out yet. Stuff like that I want to get more into. Like no one else really sees. They all play the AAA games or the what is it? The battle games like Call of Duty, Fortnite,
I hear you.
Dying Light. No, Dead by Daylight. Like everyone is doing that right now, and I don't like playing those games. So I want to stick with maybe indie horrors or some AAA horror games. Just simple stuff like that. And then I don't like forcing myself. The only time I would force myself to finish a game is when I have to put it out at a certain time or date. That's the only time I'll force myself, because then I'll just get tired and not want to do it anymore, and I'll just feel irritated about it. And I really like doing this, the editing, the YouTubing. It's fun for me, and I don't want it to feel like if it's a job or anything. So, because it's a hobby for me right now, and I really am enjoying it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't know why, I get so much satisfying things. I get satisfaction just by editing. I don't know why, because I'm in control. I can put something out, and I can say, hey, this is what I made. Please watch it if you can. Yeah. And I feel great because it's something that I've only ever had to get rid of a couple of videos where I didn't feel like it was our best work. And that's only happened a couple of times where I'm like, you know what, this is not great. We're going to scrap the whole thing. It's not going to exist on the channel, or it never went out. And that's only happened a couple times, but it feels like I just love it. Like you said, I love it. I'm glad to be a part of it, and that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad we have the same ideas, because it's the same, outlook on it. It's amazing. I love it. I love the YouTube thing. I couldn't get myself into Twitch as much as I thought we would, even though we have a Twitch channel. Yeah. I can't
really, because it's loud in my house.
Yeah. And we live in a micro home. So it's quite interesting setups we have here, but it works. But we still stream occasionally. But yeah, I do love editing, and I do love getting it. I do love getting stuff out. It's just, and it is a hobby for me right now. Maybe one day it would be nice to get paid for it, but it's like right now I have a job that I do 9 to 5, and Mondays. I'm sorry?
Do you enjoy your job? Or?
I enjoy my job, and then I also enjoy this a lot. It would be nice one day I would get paid to it, or it's just an experience I get to do on the side. And like you, Alyss, it's amazing. So I'm glad you get to do something like this, and I'm glad we get to do something like this. And it's nice that we get to, we started doing this podcast because some fans have recommended, like, hey, we would love to listen to you. Like,
oh, that's good.
Almost daily or bi-weekly. It hasn't been that way for us. It's always every now and then.
Yeah.
But it's just so nice. And then it's nice getting you in here and just talking about how you see things and how you do stuff. And you were our first choice. So I'm glad we got to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But that's it for questions, guys. That went on a little too long, but I appreciate it. Okay. There was really good questions. Please chime in with more, so we can do it in the future for more stuff. Thank you so much. And thank you, Alyss. It's so nice having you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And talk about what you're doing now and where can we find you?
Well, I am doing Visage for the Shocktober month. Also, I have another game coming out with my son. It's a horror game.
Ooh.
It's called Among the Sleep.
Oh,
so it's scary. Oh, you heard? Okay. Yeah, it's scary and really good. So I was like, this is appropriate for my son because I wanted to do a horror game with him for Halloween month. So yeah, that should be coming out soon, and Visage. And you can find me on Instagram, Alyss Alley, and of course on YouTube, also Alyss Alley.
I will make sure everything's in the description below so you guys can look her up. Okay, so she's amazing. Yeah. She does great work over there, guys. I'm giving her a lot of praise because I wouldn't have found her, if it wasn't for all the hard work that she does. So please give her a follow, give a like, watch her stuff, and hopefully you guys like what we're pumping out too. So thank you guys so much for the podcast. Thank you, Witchley, for joining. Thank you, Alyss. This was amazing. I love this.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So fun. I enjoyed this. This is a really good idea. So thank you.
Yeah, this has been awesome.
We'll see you guys for the next one. As always, if you guys enjoyed this podcast / video, because it will go out as both. Wherever you are listening to podcasts, it will be out on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. But until then, I'm Crazed.
And I'm Witchley.
And I'm Alyss Alley.
Grumble on.
Grumble on.